Morning from a very cold, chilly Hoffen. Yeah, I'm outside in just a t-shirt. Again, we got here late last night, so couldn't really see the views. We knew when we booked it, we were going to get some good mountain views. I was staying in like a little smaller ranch area. When I ended up going out last night, Hoffen's kind of like a small fishing town. So we got to see some boats unload, all that jazz last night. And I had some fresh fish. In one of the restaurants there. It was really good. Done a really good IPA as well, which I'm gonna miss. But we are today gonna head over to the Skaftafell National Park, which is only about an hour and a half from here. Then we are gonna head on back over towards Reykjavik then, which is about another 4 or 5 hour drive. But just check out these views that we are surrounded by. It's just, it never gets old. Camera doesn't really do the views the best justice. It's just amazing. There's nothing like being here in person and just seeing it. We seen a small showing of the Northern Lights last night. Very faint showing, as the skies were really clear. They were forecast for between 10 and midnight last night, and we actually got a good showing. Couldn't they were only faint, so couldn't really pick them up on the old GoPro or the iPhone, to be fair. I really need to bring a better camera next time. But the stars were just I've never seen the sky so clear, never. And I think it's probably down to the light pollution not being there, but definitely try and check out the Northern Lights if you're lucky enough to. Just stopped en route to Skaftafell National Park, got about an hour left into it, and then back onto Reykjavik, which should be about another 4.5 to 5 hours. Just again, Norwegian Sea / North Atlantic coming onto that side, on that side of things, and then we've just got more amazing views on views. The drive from Hoffen down in southeast all the way back up to the west in Reykjavik is just something else. No camera will ever do the views that we've got justice. And thankfully we've got little viewpoints just along the way, so you can just pull up and just have a good little picture take and just a little rest. But just the views as you're having a rest are just unreal. Just stopped at a glacier, at the Glacier Lagoon it's called. It's just an area of a big ice formation as you get down to just the seaside, should I call it. Just as the North Atlantic Sea hits the shoreline here, the seas are pretty wild, to be honest. The waves are pretty high, but it kind of forms into like a little estuary which goes into this lagoon area, and it's just some of the best ice formations I've seen. This is just where the North Sea meets, it comes in. Just look at this. So as you walk further along down, closer to the glacier, the lake, you can actually get right down next to it. So I wouldn't recommend getting too close because it is so fast moving and it looks absolutely freezing, but it's just amazing. Very cold this morning, but amazing. What do you reckon, Tesh? Freezing? have left the Glacier Lagoon now. We are over on the beach side, which is probably about a 10-minute walk in a straight line. If you just follow the bridge, you'll find it easily. It's really cool actually around here. They've got, as soon as you get onto the beach, they've got a load of little cool signage boards just detailing the sights of Iceland and just describing how they were formed and where they came from. But one thing about the waves just on this shoreline here, you wouldn't want to get stuck in there. They're massive, but again, the views are just unreal. Just a testament to how cold this water is and why you wouldn't want to jump in it and go swimming. On the shoreline, there's literally a load of, there's like a, as the water meets the sand, it just has a formation of just a load of ice just built up from each wave right across the waterline. Absolutely crazy. Definitely won't be going there for a swim today, but the waves are just literally so, the sea's quite rough. When you're driving along the coast, it doesn't seem as rough, but when you get down here to the waterline, it's literally rough as anything. Just never gets old standing, watching the ocean come in. Just these massive ice formations just chilling. Crazy. Just made it to the top of the Skaftafell viewpoint, which is another waterfall here at Skaftafell National Park. It's fair walk, to be fair, bit of an incline, but it certainly tested your endurance. I think it's only about a 1.6k walk to the actual bottom of the waterfall, so it's not too bad. A nice little light one. There are different routes you can take that are a little more harder, but this one's about a medium, it's decent. So we just walked from the base all the way up to Skaftafell kind of peak, where there's like a few signage boards and you can look over the waterfall. Now we've walked down into what is like a bit of a ravine down into the bottom of the waterfall, which we're going to walk over to in a minute. So we just came from all the way across there. We've then come, if we can get it, down there, all the way down into the middle, through, and then we're going to head on over to there. But bit of a weird descend. If you're afraid of heights, I wouldn't recommend it, but it's okay if you're going to take it slow. But if you're coming, it's more wintry, more icy, you might have an issue. In the summer, it would be amazing. day 4. We are heading up to the northwest of the country today. Gonna go check out an old lava cave site, so should be pretty cool. There was 2 options. One, you had to pay like 50 quid to get into, or if you want to travel a little bit further, there was one for free. So always double checking your excursions when you're in Iceland, because we found out a lot of the excursions, the money isn't in the actual excursion itself, the money is in actually the travel. So it's always good to get your own car, because you can do so much more and you can just travel around so much more and get so much more done in a day if you've got your own car and you don't mind doing the miles and just getting that sightseeing in. Where if you're on an excursion, you got to go at a certain time, you're only doing 1 per day, and the cost of the travel is extortionate. They were paying 3,000 to 4,000 krona each just to get on a coach, which is about 20-30 quid each, and then they were getting there and the actual excursion itself was actually free. It was a free place to go, so it was always worth. You're going to save money overall on petrol than you would paying for these excursions, and get a lot more done. So it's definitely worth checking out the excursions and checking out how much they cost, and basically if there's a free one close, because there always is a free alternative. 90% of the stuff we've done has been free to do. It's just getting there was the issue, because it's so far out sometimes from the main city. So it's definitely worth doing your research before you get here on what it is exactly you want to do, and basically how far you're willing to travel, because it is a big place. So we just drove 2.5 hours to get to a cave site up the northwest coast, and then we've got here and the access road we need to go on is actually closed. It is our last night in Reykjavik. We are just back in the town centre on a very, very windy and cold night. We are going to be just going around, getting some nice food, just seeing if there are any little hidden gems we didn't see the other night to visit, and try and just see what we can do on this last night, or the last few hours, to be honest. But the weather has definitely changed for the worse today. So not only is it very windy, it's very, very just we were experiencing all the seasons. We've had snow, hail, sleet, kind of rain, and whenever it rains or snows, it's just that windy, so it just goes sideways, so you get attacked by it all. So just popped into, like, when you any time you come to a new city, whether it be Berlin, London or Blackpool, you know, you've got to head into a little tat shop if you're not from there. So just popped into, it's weird because their tat shops aren't tat shops, they're kind of like souvenir shops, but they're kind of like, they're called ice marts. So you've got this popular brand throughout Iceland called Icewear, which is like a kind of expensive, kind of like, you know, winter wear brand, which kind of like doubles as a tat shop at the same time. So, you know, but we had to pop in. Looking to save some money while you're in Iceland, two of the best stores you can go to are a store called Bonus and there's a store called Kronen, which is kind of like your Lidl and Aldi alternatives while you're in Iceland. But if you're staying in an Airbnb especially, and you've got the means to cook your own food of a night time instead of eating out in the city all the time, because it can be expensive, you're better off coming to one of these supermarkets where you can get literally anything you need at a decent, reasonable price. You have one of these in Reykjavik centre. Just look for the big pink pig and the yellow signage and you'll find it. It's good because they literally have anything you want from what convenience store has to offer, really. But it's funny because your fruit and veg is in its own little building, then all like your meat and poultry, it's in its separate own building, so everything has a different room. Unlike the UK, if you want to buy alcohol, like some other countries I know do this as well, if you want to buy alcohol, there is a separate store. There's a few different stores that do it, but there are separate stores that literally only sell alcohol. So if you can't buy it in the stores here, in a general convenience store or a general supermarket, you have to go to a special store if you want to buy alcohol. Like most things in Iceland, buying alcohol is very expensive. I got 6 beers earlier and it cost me nearly 20 quid. So, you know, be prepared to shell out, even if you can have a few beers back in the hotel or the Airbnb. Far too windy and far too cold in Reykjavik tonight, to be honest, so we're gonna head somewhere now, have a sit down and then head back to the ranch for later. So as I said earlier today, bit of a place where you can do, if you've got a car, you got your own transport, there is a lot to do in Iceland. If you're staying in the city, the centre of Reykjavik, and you haven't got your own transport, it can be quite challenging to get to and from, because a lot of the money you will be paying is in expensive transport fees for coaches and excursions. But if you're just coming here for a nice, you know, lads weekend for a drink, or if you're coming just with the missus for, you know, just a nice little city break, it is still nice. There's a lot of things to do, a lot of places to eat, a lot of places to drink, and a lot of shops to visit. But just make sure, you know, you bring the wallet, because you're going to need it. So it's just decided that he wants to blow out some gale force winds, and there's some hail that's being smashed into our faces as we speak. The weather has definitely took a turn in Reykjavik. So we are back in the car. We're going to head over back to the ranch now. The weather just took a turn for the worst. Gale force winds, there's hail, rain, so it's not really ideal just for bowling around a city centre in. But on a nice day during the summer, this could be a really nice place to come. It's good seeing it now, kind of like Christmas mode. We're just a bit shy of the Christmas markets, but it's still a good place to come.